something really exciting here for you. This is Operation Silver Bayonet. It's from Vietnam War 1965, so really the very beginning and the height of the American involvement in Vietnam. I've just been really interested at the moment in the Vietnam era. Never really was before. I was very much interested in my World War II vehicles, tanks, battlefields, and dioramas. But this is one that I actually, do you know what? I've been looking forward to getting. It's Italeri. It's really, so you know it's going to be really good. Italeri always never failed to give you such an experience, especially with building. And today I'm going to be reviewing this, and it is very rare. I haven't seen many of these out here. I've actually been able to get this one on Amazon for about £53, so it does set you back a bit. But if you realise you've got photo etch parts here, two really nice huts, like Viet Cong huts or Vietnamese huts if you want to call that. They're probably used by the Viet Cong. They're laser cut. We'll show you those later. Some Viet Cong troops and also some US infantry. A nice UHU, a little Huey 1C with nice rocket barrels in there, so you know, proper gunship. And then you've got an M113, which is a standard American armored vehicle, APC. But this one is really fascinating because I really was intrigued to find that a lot of these were supplied to the South Vietnamese army way before the Americans really had boots on the ground. So they were advisors, but they gave these in vast amounts to them because they were very good at traversing the rice paddies and getting through the narrow trenches, the waterways between. So some really cool footage, which you might see later, of that. Really fantastic. And then we've got the M48, really fantastic looking vehicle. This is a Patton tank, which was very synonymous with the Vietnam War. And this, of course, is the one with the rangefinder, which you can put the really cool decals on. I'll show you those later. And then, of course, battlefield buildings and accessories. So that's what you get. I mean, it's quite substantial. As you can see from the box, it's quite big, and it gives you a nice little kind of overview of what you're going to get inside. Switch this light off for a second, just so we can see. There we go. So there's some really nice quality here. You've got some kind of examples of dioramas that they put together for it. You've got the Huey there, you've got the M48 Patton there, and you've got the other vehicles and also the accessories there. You've got the APC, and you can have it with the back down as well, which is quite cool. Something that I really like to look into doing, especially, you know, kind of giving it that action. And of course, you've got the laser cut huts here and here. So let's have a look. Let's have a look and let's look at see what's inside. So, big box, as I said, really nice. They've got a pretty good instruction manual, so everything is all in there. So you've got the Huey gunship, first one there. There you go, and you've got all of the instructions for the Huey, and then you've got the M48 Patton. And as you see that's what I've been looking forward to, is that kind of Ace's main dealer. It's something very synonymous with the Vietnam War. They put those on their tanks. Really simple kits to build as well. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, as you can see here. And they got the APC as well, decals involved as well. You got the building accessories and battlefield accessories there. Really simple. And then you got the troop painting colours and things like this. So synonymous with you know, the late war Vietnam era, and then early Vietnam era. And then what's really cool is I noticed this at the end. They've actually got templates, leaves that you can actually cut out for the diorama. So ways in which you can design and build stuff. They've also got self-made wooden bridges as well that you can kind of work on, construct, bunker and placements. So pretty cool things that they kind of give you to take a look at. And then again, see the leaves are repeated on the other side. In fact, you can cut these out. I think these are designed for you to cut out. And then you've got the laser cut houses here, the huts, which look really cool, which I'm really excited to start building more than anything else. So there you go, that's the instruction manual. Really nicely, neatly done. Bit of history as well there. So it tells you about the Vietnam War. So I really like that. Really fantastic. So let's have a look. The first thing we've got are the American troops, and they look pretty good. Molds look really nice as well. I was really worried, to be honest, when I bought this, because Italeri in the past have kind of let me down with their overly sized figures and kind of weird proportions. But these are pretty good, kind of, interesting kind of poses. They're not too much repeated, but some of them are pretty cool. Bit of damage as well, unfortunately, with these rifles, these M16s, so got to watch out for that when you're in the packaging process. But other than that, it's pretty cool. You've got some green berets here, as you can tell by the berets that they wear. I really like that. It's really fantastic. There you go, a bit of closer image. What I think is pretty cool is you got this kind of Rambo-like guy here. So if you wanted to do like a, Rambo, you can. What I really like though is this China Lake right here. Can you see? So these are like a shotgun, but really for a grenade launcher. But you load one in, you fire it like a shotgun. But what I like about Italeri is this bottom part right here, where they've got kind of like figures that are kind of unique. So here we go here, like in the bottom you've got these guys. You've got a sniper who's obviously calling in some ground support. You've got another Rambo-like figure right here as well, John Rambo if you will. Green beret, so you can think about, John Wayne. And then you've got what looks like an Arvin, which is the South Vietnamese army at the time, which were armed by the Americans and taught how to fight. So that's pretty cool with his little cap right there. And then you've got a guy who's injured again. So that's pretty good. I mean, it's a bit disappointing where you've got all of these pretty much the same. This is the problem with Italeri, is it? I guess it's because it's a wargaming kind of thing, but I would suggest really good figure kits would be like Pegasus Hobbies. But unfortunately, everything is so sold out, and especially Orion figures. I saw some North Vietnamese and Viet Cong regulars, so that would be really cool to get. But not too bad. Quite happy with the figures, and they look really nice as well. The detail, it's not too bad. They got little kind of, again, they got more Arvin here, which is fantastic, and a couple of SOG as well, MACV SOG troopers. So there's a lot you can do with that. So that's the Americans. Let's look at the Vietnamese. These are a mix of Vietnamese regulars and also Viet Cong, and you know what? Really nice. This is the coolest thing. You see this guy? Look, he's absolutely barefoot. That I think is brilliant. I've seen a lot of different kind of styles and things, but that's pretty cool to have him barefoot. Kind of adds to that kind of diorama experience. Again, same deal with the Viet Cong and Vietnamese, Viet Minh as well. These, you could use these as Viet Minh for any sort of dioramas you do against the French, of course, because it was an Indo-Chinese war. The Indochina War against the French, of course, French Indochina is what Vietnam used to be called. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. But again, I don't know, it's that kind of repetition, which I guess is a war games thing. So, on a mass running and attack from the Vietnamese, maybe that works in the diorama. But good detail. We've got some RPG guys there as well. And on this side, you've got some little bit more kind of extra poses. You've got this guy with a very communist looking hat, so he could be part of the Chinese volunteer force there, because a lot of the Chinese were sent over around in the 60s, part of the conflict. But there you go, this is very cool. I like this kind of part here. This is their little kind of extras. So you got someone reaching up. So there's lots of diorama opportunity there. But again, in terms of molds, 10 out of 10, not bad. Some pretty good detail. In terms of poses and variety, probably maybe I'd say about a strong 7, because you want to have a bit more variety, especially with the diorama phase. But overall, pretty good. Weapons look quite proportional as well compared to the Americans. They have good proportions, so they're not, ridiculously giant. However, what's cool is they have captured the idea that the Americans are a lot bigger, because that's what the Viet Cong realized. They said they were a lot easier targets to hit, and that's something I found fascinating when looking into the Vietnam Wars. Of course, they were described by the Americans as small and quick, and they were described by the Vietnamese, the Americans being tall and lumbersome, and even the Arvin, or the South Vietnamese forces, didn't want to be near a US major or an observer or advisor, because they think they would be a target, of course, because they were so tall. So fascinating, kind of interesting material from there. But yeah, pretty good. Very happy with that. Battlefield accessories, standard, like it. Really nicely put together, constructed, barbed wire. You can add to that, and it's a nice little kind of outpost that you can put together. Some sandbags here, so that's pretty good. Again, more of the same with some bases. That's quite cool. I'd probably get rid of the bases and not use these. I'd probably use them for another diorama or something. But you've got stretchers here, so you can create a really nice diorama with, so that guy we had lying down, he could probably be in there. So that's quite interesting. I like that. So that's the Battlefield accessories. Now I want to move on to the houses because this is really cool. I've never seen this in Italeri. It's my first ever laser cut kit. But look at that. So that's what it looks like on the front, and you flip it round, and boom, you've got all of these pieces that are already pre-cut, ready to go. Obviously, I'm going to use some wood glue for this, and it's going to be quite nice to actually put some interior in as well. Probably going to use some of this leftover material here to build chairs and tables. So there's a lot of material they give you, which is great. I think nothing will go to waste here, even though it looks like a lot of waste. There's a lot of imagination you can put to that. That's quite a big building as well. Look at that, it's huge. Look at the stilts. It kind of gives you an idea of the area you're working with. So quite a big, sizable building if you extrude that out. So that's quite nice. So we got here another building. It's a bit bigger as well. A lot more kind of detail with this one. It's huge. So there's a lot of potential as well for nice little cutaways, top maybe in the roof. I mean, I like my realism in my diorama, so I'm probably going to be able to damage quite a lot of this. Maybe have it half burnt. Maybe have a scene where it's already been hit, or maybe a helicopter's attacking it, or it's riddled with bullets. So that's what I like about this material, which I'm looking forward to building with. It's so kind of easy to cut into because it acts like real wood, so you can do a lot of interesting things with that. But that's really impressive by Italeri, I have to say. That's fantastic.